Are drop-in fees a ripoff or not? Let's talk about it. My name is Bill Jones, head instructor of top-level martial arts in beautiful downtown Cuyahoga Falls. Black belt under Master Pedro Sauer and Tony Rinaldi. You're watching Professor's Corner. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I basically just give my thoughts on various topics, jiu-jitsu and martial arts related. So the other day I was on Facebook and there was a talk about jiu-jitsu. And for those of you who maybe aren't as familiar with Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or maybe you're newer to it, there's something called a drop-in. And that is, in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, the idea that you can go from one gym to another, I actually hate to use the term gym, but one academy to another, and visit is a really big part of the culture of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. There are some few academies that don't allow it. My opinion is that's a poor choice, but it's ultimately up to the person who owns the academy whether or not they want to assume that risk. And there's a couple parts that go to that risk, and we can talk about that in a minute. But either way, when you visit other academies, there's something called a drop-in fee. And it's usually, I can't even say how much it is. A lot of times it's $10, $20, $30. Some academies it's 40 or 50 or 60 or 100. In some cases, it's like, well, we have a set uniform you have to wear, so it's going to be $100 drop-in, but that includes the rash guard or the uniform. So the fee can change from place to place, and it's somewhat irregular, and it's completely up to whoever owns that business. A lot of people are fine with that and understand that that's going to be the case. And my recommendation, if you're going to drop in somewhere, is always contact them ahead of time and ask a few questions. Question number one, is it okay if I come? Make sure you say where you train and how long you've been training, because that could influence what class they put you in. If you've only been training for a year and you haven't done much in the way of tournaments or anything, they may want you to come to their fundamentals or beginners classes. If you've been training for 8 years and you're a brown belt or a high level purple, they might say, hey, drop in on our advanced class or whatever. Point is, that's going to inform them. It's also going to let them have the opportunity, if they so choose, to find out if you're talking bullshit, because that isn't uncommon. Some people will contact academies, not really have any experience at all, and they'll say, oh yeah, I train at Joe Blow's academy. You call Joe Blow, you're like, hey, one of your students is going to drop in, just wanted to see if there's anything I should know ahead of time. And they're like, I've never heard of that guy in my life. Or they might say, yeah, that guy did some low-level high school wrestling, and he likes to just try to come in and wrestle with people and see if he can beat them. So you want to know what you're getting into, and it's only fair to the person that you're attending their academy that they know what they're getting when you show up. All right, that said, drop-in fees. How much are they? What goes into that? And are they fair? One, yeah, it's their business. It's fair, period. It's that simple. The job of a business is to make money. And if you don't agree with that, that's fine. But you have a very limited idea of what a business is. Not everybody opens a martial arts business completely to treat it like a business. I get that. A lot of people, it's their second job. They're really only doing it to have a place to train on the regular, and they have low fees and it's a pretty very casual, relaxed environment, and that's fine. That's 100% up to whoever owns it. But if for my case, for example, this is all I do for a living. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's it. I have nuclear medicine degrees. I have degrees in exercise physiology. I did those things. I quit those jobs, took the risk of opening my academy, and I own a school now. I have employees. I have 9 employees that work here. They all need paid. So I have to run it as a business. With that said, some places will charge very high fees. Some will charge very low fees. In my case, if you ever drop by my academy, I usually just ask you to do a Google review if you had a good time. Leave a 5-star Google review, and to me, that's worth the same as about $20 to $30, honestly. But that doesn't make what I do better than what somebody else does. That's just my choice. And here's what I want to talk about. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this, is what are you really paying for? You're paying for access and you're paying for time. Because a lot of people think, well, there's no product. You'll be there teaching anyway. Why should I have to pay something for something that you were already going to do anyway? That's not out of your way. I'm not interrupting anything. Yeah, one, you're an entitled prick if that's how you think. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. Go back to reading Karl Marx and have a great day. The truth is, you're paying for access and time. Access includes a few things. It includes the amenities of the academy, whatever they may be. It includes the mat space of the academy, and it includes the students of that academy. Here's what I mean by that. Of course, the amenities are the amenities, right? You're using their water if you're filling your water bottle, if you're taking a shower, if you're, in my case, we have mouthwash, we have toilet paper, we have all kinds of stuff, right? So you're using that stuff. That stuff costs money. It needs replaced, and that's part of the fee. You're using the mat space. That's obvious. A mat is only so big. Now, maybe you're lucky enough to be walking in on a mat that's 17,000 square feet and it's gigantic. But in general, when extra people are in on the mat, that takes up extra space. That's space that other paying students can't use. Mat space has a value to it. As a business owner, I actually go through, I can tell you what every square foot of my mat is worth. And that's how you determine pricing and all this other stuff too. And the last thing, and probably the most important one, is that you're using students. They are letting you use their body. And that is an inherent risk because you, as someone who is not a member of that academy, might come in, and I'm not saying on purpose. Maybe you're practicing heel hooks that day and you accidentally rip someone's knee. You didn't mean to. It was an accident. No one blames you. But here's the simple fact. Some person who came in and paid $20 to be there just injured someone who's probably paying $1,000 to $2,000 a year to train. From a business perspective, that is not a fair trade, and it is a risk. So anytime a business owner of one of these academies is letting you come in and train, understand that there is a huge inherent risk in that. And the fact that I don't charge, I've never had anybody not offer, and I've never had anybody argue with me. I've just seen it online. So I don't know if those people even really exist. I tend to think they don't. But, everybody has that different persona they want to be online. But you understand that that's a gigantic risk, right? If I lose a student, and they're out for 9 months or decide that jiu-jitsu isn't for them because, they can get injured at any time, which maybe they would have decided that 6 months from now. Maybe they would have decided that 2 years from now. But the point is, from a business perspective, I just lost a ton of money. Maybe it's now harder to pay my rent. Maybe it's now harder to pay my employees. Or even worst case scenario, maybe it gives my academy a bad rep because that guy went out and said, yeah, I got hurt over there. Don't go there. They let anybody in the door. All because I decided to let somebody from another place come and train. Now, that's why a lot of places, or I don't say a lot, but some places just choose not to allow non-paying students to come in. They just don't do it. You could also make other arguments about that, but that is a point that someone could make that I do consider valid. So I think that's a very important thing that people don't look at, is that risk that you're taking on as an academy instructor. Now, there's one other thing that you're paying for, and this one I didn't include in the category of amenities because it's not an amenity, but that is time. You're paying for time. Whose time? The instructor's time. Now, this also only depends on when you come in. If you come in for just an open mat, chances are you're not paying for an instructor's time. So that's where the other pieces come in. But an instructor's time is valuable. And it's valuable in more ways than you think. Like you might be thinking, oh, well, it costs this much per month to train there. And, you were going to pay anyway. So it's like, if I give you like $10, that's enough. That's not how you figure that out, guys. That's not, that math works for you, but that also doesn't take into account like the overhead or anything else. So just because, it costs Jim, who comes every single day and trains here all the time, 150 or maybe $180 to train or whatever, then that doesn't mean that you should get the one class price. Usually places have a price for someone. So for example, in my academy, there's a different price for if you don't want to commit to a full year. And that's the what I call the true value. You're actually getting a huge discount for making a big commitment, because those kind of commitments are hard to make. And so I give you a big discount for that. It's a thank you. You're scratching my back, I'll scratch yours. So you should be paying the price for training one day. And that's something to consider as well. Moreover, if you're coming into a class, you're taking up that instructor's time, right? They're coming to you. They're teaching their class, of course. And unless the instructor is like, okay, guys, here's how you do the move. All right, go. And then they just sit here and start reading a book, right? That's not what anybody does. Nobody does that. They say, all right, let's try it. Boom. And then what do? They walk the lines. They go around. They check. They see if everybody's getting it. And they're going to check on you too, because you're in their class. And any good instructor worth their salt wants to make sure that every student on the mat is getting out of it what they need. And they're going to make sure your technique's good. They're going to give you tips here and there. Here's a way I do this. Fix the grip here. And that time is time that they're taking away from other paying students. And that's a valuable thing. So these are the things to take into account when you see that, there's a drop-in fee at a jiu-jitsu school or wherever you're going. I don't know. Maybe you're training karate or whatever. Although that's not typically done in most martial arts. It's one of the things that makes jiu-jitsu beautiful, in my opinion, is this idea that you can go and train at different schools. It's something that a lot of other martial arts don't do. It looks like they're getting better with it, and I've seen a little more of it as I've gotten older, but there was a time when that was just taboo. You just don't do that. You don't train at two schools at once. In fact, I got kicked out of the karate school I was in when I started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Even though I said, look, nobody needs to know I train Jiu-Jitsu. They're completely different schools. I'm not going to do Jiu-Jitsu while I'm here. I just want to keep my karate skills up. And they were like, no way. When that school shuts down, you can come back. Okay. By the way, we're still open. That school is still open. And the school that I left shut down 15 years ago. So I just wanted to kind of put in your mind, I apologize if I have kind of a combative tone. I realize that I might be sounding a little combative, but it's because from a business perspective, it's really entitled to me and kind of frustrating that someone would think that a business owner shouldn't be charging for something like that. The risk alone is huge. And, if you train with me or if you train in any academy, worth their salt, you should really consider, how you're going to make your academy look too. If one of my students goes to another academy and they're like, oh, I have to pay here. Oh, that's ridiculous. That academy is going to be calling me. Guarantee you. We talk as instructors. Anytime a student visits me, I hit up their instructor afterwards and I say, hey, it was really good to meet so-and-so. Just so you know, they were really skilled. And I just always say good things. It's the way I am. But it's like they were really well mannered. Tom DeBlas hit me up. One of my guys went and visited there, and Tom DeBlas wrote me, said, "Hey, just wanted to let you know, so and so visited, and they were really well mannered. It was really nice to meet them. You clearly run a good place down there." And it felt really good. And that's kind of just who Tom DeBlas is, right? But it's who I am too. I try to contact these guys, and I've done that, and some of them don't write me back, and I've done it, and some of them, it strikes up a friendship. So it's something to consider, guys, and something to think about. Martial arts is weird because I know that you're paying for a service, right? You're paying to learn a thing, and that is an important thing to keep in mind as an owner for sure. But you're also entering a community, and I don't want it to sound cultish because that's not how I mean it. But every community you enter, there's etiquettes and the way things are done, and it wouldn't matter if it's martial arts or if it's train building, or if it's Magic the Gathering. There's an etiquette to everything that you enter because we are a society of people, and those people include more than just you. So it's important to take that into account when you join something like this, that there's going to be certain etiquettes and ways to do things that you should follow. I don't know. I hope that makes sense, guys. I'd love to hear your take on it, though. Do you think you should pay drop-in fees? I know that I referenced you as like a Karl Marxist or something, but I say that in hyperbole to some degree, but also, the clicks and stuff. But more importantly, I just want you to think about it more than just you would have been teaching anyway. That's like a real low level of thinking. It doesn't take in the whole context of the situation. So let me know in the comments. What do you think? Let's end this video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one.